I have Windows open right here. This is one of the template files I'll send you guys, and I'll probably just send it with David's model just so you know where to position everything. David's model at the moment is the top of his model is resting on the 0C plane. So you guys will just have to drag your models in here. There's a little box in here. Just drag it to one of the corners so it's in flush in line with David's model, and then just delete David's model out of the way. Go ahead and open RhinoCAM. If you haven't already done so, let me adjust my screen here. And I'm going to go through all of these, I guess they're called machining operations, and these are the ones that you're going to have to do. They're called mill passes when you're actually doing them on the mill. So I'll go one by one and tell you what you guys need. So if you open up the template, you'll notice that you have these 6 dots, 6 points right here. And try not to move those points. Those points are going to define the spots where you're going to drill your screws, and those are important because we need them in the material, but not touching your model. So these drill holes are going to be made with, I guess, a 0.5 drill bit, so the 1/2 inch drill bit. So I'll put that in there so everybody knows. And they're going in about 2 inches into the material. That way they carve a nice hole, a nice little tunnel, so you can insert a drill, and you can see how far they're going. And then your drill head will be right here, going all the way through the bed. So that's important for everybody to have, so we can secure the piece of foam into the bed. The next step that we're going to do is the rough, and this is going to be done with a same 1/2 inch bit, so you won't have to switch bits between passes. So as you can see, these blue lines represent where the drill bit is going to be traveling through. The red lines represent every time the drill bit has to reposition itself around the model, so it goes up to not touch your model. And we're going to open that and redo it in a second. So I'll show you guys how to redo all that, but I'm just going to go through the different passes. So keep in mind they're labeled 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3A is just because it's something in between, so they still go in order. So number 2 is the rough pass that we just talked about. The number 3 pass, this is going to be an important pass because there's no machine that can actually cut our 4-inch thick piece of high density foam in one pass. So it's important that we cut it down, and this is basically what this is doing, is taking the drill bit and going around your material and making kind of like a plateau around it, so that we can just this is going to make a 2-inch plateau, so that we can just put it to the bandsaw, the table saw, and cut that off in one pass and not have to flip it over and mess up the face of your mill. So that's an important step, and everybody should have it in their piece. After that, we're going to do the pre-finish, and the pre-finish is going to be done with a 1/4 inch drill bit flathead. And as you can see, just kind of going in there and removing the rest of the material without actually touching your model, the finish of your model. So we're just going to go over and remove any excess material. That way the 1/8 inch bit parallel finish, this one, can just go in smoothly and not really have to affect the not really have to go through a lot of material and break. So this is high density foam. Sometimes the 1/8 inch bits can break. So I'm going to have to fix this. Right now it's going over only this rectangle. It has to go over the full rectangle. So let's go ahead and delete these, and I'll show you guys how to set these up. The drill holes, you're not going to have to redo. They're already going to be there. So actually, let's just go ahead and delete them and do them over. It's fine. I'm having a little bit of trouble here with my keyboard. Let me see if I can delete these guys. There you go. Okay, so first step, I'll make sure these little in-between rectangles don't exist. So you only need this one and this one. Okay, so first of all, we're going to do the drill pass. So select all your points, and you can do that by going into this little button here and selecting these little point things, or you can just go manually and select all of them. And you're going to go to the machining operations, and it's called a hole. So you go in there and you do a drill. Okay. You're going to make a tool. I already have it made, but let's just delete it so you can see how you do it. You're going to go edit, create tool, and from there you're going to select this one, the first one, and then just tell it that it's a 1/2 inch diameter. The drill bit is 1/2 inch in diameter, and name it 0.5 flat. because we're using a flat. So just save as new and hit OK. Then as soon as you do that, it'll show up here, and that's the one you just have to select it and tell it that's the one you want to use. Feet and speeds, you don't have to mess with that in any of the settings, not even the passes. Clearance plane, it's set to automatic right now. Automatic just goes a 1/4 inch above your material, so just make sure that visually it looks like it's going above your material, and this looks fine here. And then this is the cut parameters. This is the most important step on the milling passes. And right here they're going to tell it to go 2 inches deep. And everything else looks good. Sorting, we're just going to go tell it to go minimum distance sort so that it goes from one to the next as close as possible. It's not jogging around. So minimum distance sorting, so we can just start from the lower left, and we hit generate. It's going to do this little thing where it's going to show you, and as you can see, it's going from this one, it goes down 2 inches, lifts up, and then moves to the next one, goes down 2 inches, and it just keeps doing that all the way around until it's finished. So we're going to call that 0.5 flat. Well, actually, that's the first step, so let's call it 0.1. 0.5 flat holds. Okay. Then the next step is going to be the roughing. So let's select the boundary, and that's, as you can see from the top view, the boundary is this box right here, not this one, not that one. That one's for our parallel finish because it has to go around it. And then this one is the one you want to select. So have that selected, and then go into machining operations. Here we don't need this layer box, let me delete that. And it's going to be a 3-axis, and it's going to be the first one, horizontal roughing. We have our machine region already selected, and I have all these tools made. You make them just the same way that I made the previous ones, but I'll delete this one. I'll show you how to make one. So again, so you make sure you select the flathead. You see kind of they all have their own individual profiles. You select the flathead, and then you name it. So this one is going to be the 1/2 inch flat, and we just got to check here under the tool diameter that it is 1/2 inches, and we say that it's a new tool, and we just say yes. Hit OK, and then we select it. Feet and speeds, we ignore that. Clearance plane, remember you just have to visually check that it's above your material. That's good. The cut parameters, this is the most important one. And for the roughing, you just want to make sure you have 75% stuff over control here. Everything else is fine. Cut levels, that's fine. You don't have to change anything in there. Engagement track is fine, and advanced cut parameters is fine. You just hit generate. We're gonna wait for that to compute, and should be done in a couple seconds. Okay, and we have a rough pass there. It looks good. We're going to call that step number 2. That's with a 1/2 inch flathead, and then we're going to call that rough. Okay. And then having the same boundary box selected, we're going to go into the next operation, and we're going to do a parallel finish. And this one we're going to select the 1/4 inch flat. Okay. And then we're going to ignore the feeds and speeds. We're going to go into the clearance plane. It should be the same, so just make sure, just verify that it's okay. Cut parameters. And this one we're going to go 75% as well, because we're just trying to get rid of the excess material. And then this one we're going to have, we're going to tell it to go conventional upcut, and that just means that it's the location of the flutes on the drill bit is cutting up, so all the material is coming up. That's all that means. And then entry and exit and C containment, that's fine, so we don't have to mess with those settings, and we'll just hit generate. So as you can see, actually this is it seems like a complex program, but it's actually pretty simple. And we have an issue because we don't want these red lines, so let me see what's wrong with that. Maybe we don't need conventional cut, we just need regular. We just need mix maybe. So let's see. Yeah, mix. So don't go conventional upcut, go mixed. And you saw that setting that I just clicked. So that just makes sure that it doesn't lift up off of the material and just keeps going back in a zigzag pattern. So that's our step number 3. Oh, that's going to be 3B. We missed a step before that. We'll do that right now. It doesn't really matter because we can put them in any order we want. Just remember, this is a 0.25 inch flathead, and this is our pre-finish. Okay, so we're going to do that parallel pass that I told you guys earlier about making the plateau around your model. So for that one, we have to select this outer line right here, and that one is a 2 axes, and it's called a profile. And for that one, we're going to do it with the same 1/4 inch flat, so we select that. Feet and speeds we don't have to worry about. Clearance plane should be automatic in the same spot. And then our cut parameters, we want it conventional upcut. This is the one that we need, conventional upcut. And our cut levels, this is important, pay attention here. We're going to go a total depth of 2 inches, but our step down, and this is a little bit hard to explain, but just put these numbers in there. We're going to go 1/8 of an inch, that's half of our of the drill bit that we're using. We're using a 1/4, so we put half of that, so that's an 1/8. We leave that alone, and then this is going to be automatically set to 1/8, and then we got to change this one to 1/8, so 1.25. And entry and exit, this one is important. On this one, we just have to put none on both, so none here, none there. Advanced cut parameters are not important, and sorting is not important, so we hit generate. And you see that it's going to be basically doing a little, it's going to be doing laps around our model, just around it, not actually touching our model. And so this will be, oh, this is important, sorry, go back into it, and under cut parameters, tell it to go on the inside, and you hit generate. Okay, so you'll see this is the center of the drill bit, and it's a 1/4 inch drill bit, so the drill bit will look something like this, and as it travels around, it will be removing the material right on the perimeter of our model and a little bit here. So it won't actually be touching our model. So that's important so that we can later cut the model in one pass through the table saw. Okay? And we call that 03A. That's 0.25 flat, and that's called profile, 2 inches. Okay, so we can move these to the end here, and we just do that by dragging them. Okay, and then the last step is our finish. So we're going to select this inside one again, not the outside one, and we're going to go to parallel finishing. And this all depends on everybody what kind of finishing they want. I recommend that you just kind of stick to the standard one, parallel finishing. As you can see, there's a lot of other options here. Sorry, not 2 axes, 3 axes. You can see the different types of finishes. There's parallel finishing, where it's basically going side to side. Horizontal finishing is where it starts at the highest peak on your model, and then it starts going around it. And then spiral machining is it's just what it sounds like. It goes in a little spiral. And then radial machining kind of goes, it starts doing little angles from the center off. So they're all kind of different. I've never really played around with them. I've always done parallel finish. So we're going to do that for now. And for this one, we're going to use, for the final finish, we're going to use 1/8 flat. And our clearance plane again. Cut parameter, we're going to do 25%. And this is the smallest that I recommend you go, because if you have a lot of detail in your model and you go anything less than this, it'll increase, it'll exponentially increase the time of your mill. I went from 25% at, mine was taking 1.5 hours, and then I switched it to 20%, and it actually went to 3.5 hours. So it's a lot of difference. So just keep that in mind. And then everything else is fine. So the cut parameter is 25%, and we just generate that pass. Okay. And there we have it. We'll call that 04. That's a 1/8 inch. And the reason I named these, I'm naming these files this way, is because you're going to post them, and you're going to input them, load them into the CNC program at the laboratory in this order, and this little guy will remember you, will remind you what kind of drill bit you're using, so that you don't use the wrong one and mess up your file. So this is the actual finish, and it's number 4. So, sorry. Over here. It doesn't want to move, but anyways, you can move it on your own. But basically, we are done at this point. At this point, what you're going to do with this file is, if you're working in the lab and you're doing this in the lab, you're just basically going to call up one of the TAs and have them verify that all your settings are okay. They're going to look at the model and turn it around, make sure that there's nothing weird about it. And at that point, they'll give you the go-ahead and show you how to post the files and load them up into the machine. And if you've done the tutorial, hopefully you've learned by now how to load this up into the computers and set up the mill. But I'll be there on Saturday, this Saturday, to help anybody who needs help. Okay. All right, guys. Good luck.